This letter from King Artaxerxes to Ezra shows us something of the mystery, I think, of God and the way that God can move through human beings that don't even know Him. Clearly, what Ezra has been doing is he's wanted to go back to Jerusalem. We just read that yesterday. And this gives us a bit of an insight into the process and the journey behind their return to Israel from exile. And you see that the Jews were given such favour. They were told that they could take silver and gold. They were given this letter that said whenever Ezra arrived at one of these treasuries, he was able to access all this wealth, and they had to give it to him. They weren't allowed to impose taxes on anyone who was a priest or a Levite and all of that. And it just is described as, and certainly Ezra sums it up when he says, "Praise be to the Lord, the God of our ancestors, who blah, 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 blah," and basically means he's given me favour with all of these kings and these rulers and these advisors, and it's all God who has done that. I don't know if you have any stories of the way in which God has somehow worked a miracle in your life or in your day in order to make it, in order to move people to serve you and to help you. I heard just recently about a couple that they hadn't been able to afford to pay their mortgage for 2 months, and that was really tough for them. They obviously prayed about it a lot. They were really trying to find work. They just couldn't find work, and they had a young family, and they prayed and prayed and prayed and prayed and prayed. And eventually they decided they're going to have to renegotiate their mortgage, or because they've defaulted on the payment. So they went to the bank and they said, "Oh, we haven't paid our mortgage for 2 months." And the bank said to them, "Yes, you have. It's been paid." And they said, "Well, we haven't paid it." And the bank said, "Well, it's definitely been paid for the last 2 months." And their mortgage had been paid, and they said it was a total miracle. They had no idea how it happened. Now, how God did that, I can't explain. He's never paid my mortgage, but he did do it. He did a little miracle, and he financed their house for a couple of months. Now they know that that's not an ongoing. It's not going to carry on forever, but it's just God's favour to a couple that were in need and that turned to Him. What need do you have today, big or small? Turn to God and ask Him for help. He's able to move and He's able to do miracles. Is it someone who's really annoying us at school? Is it a teacher that's really being unreasonable? Is it a boss that we really need some help to have grace with? Is it a family member that we just want to see a change of attitude? Now, these things don't often happen overnight, although that God does do it like that sometimes, but a prolonged, persistent period of prayer can have a big effect. Look to God and ask Him for some favour.